Good evening. Welcome back to Passionate World Talks Radio Network Daily Bread. And today we're talking about vaccinations across a lifetime. But before we begin, let's do this in the proper order. Every day is a long road, and no one should walk it alone. At Passionate World Talk Radio, our programs guide you through the outside noise. Chatting with Betsy, Sports Commentary with Dan Riley, Scam Damnation, Lest We Forget History Monday Tips with Lillian Caldwell, plus PWTRN'S Daily Bread, plus Tuesdays and Thursday, America's Infrastructure Show, and then on Sunday, a brand new program which we will unveil this week. So, we are the Real Voices, PWTRN, Real Help, PWTRN, Real Life, PWTRN. We are the voices of the people. United, we roar. Passionate World Talk Radio Network. Got some riddles for you tonight, just to break up some of the monotony. Riddle 1, the gold coin. What's gold and white with copper running around it? The 250th commemorative gold coin. Riddle number 2. What ancient structure measured 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, and still isn't as big as some modern ballrooms? The Ark. Why did so many women wear red ribbons around their necks? To keep their heads up. Today on Daily Bread, vaccinations across a lifetime. You've been hearing a lot about vaccinations all this week, and I thought I would clear up some of the misinformation one keeps hearing. Vaccinations are not a one and done childhood event. They follow us through every stage of life: childhood, teens, adults, after adults. So, why? Because our immune system changes, the risks change, and the world around us changes. Today's PWTRN's Daily Bread will look at the vaccines recommended at each stage of life and why adults still need them long after our school days are over. Childhood vaccinations. These are the foundations that every child should get. Polio, a virus that once paralyzed thousands of children every year. Have you read the latest? They're now warning people who are traveling over to certain countries across the pond to be wary of the polio that's now spreading because people aren't getting vaccinated. Measles, mumps, rubella, MMR, highly contagious diseases that can cause pneumonia, brain swelling, and pregnancy complications. That's why adults don't like getting German measles when they become adults, because it becomes a killer. Tetanus and diphtheria, infections that come from cuts, soil, and bacteria in the environment. Varicella, that's chicken pox, for those who don't know, once considered normal, but capable of causing pneumonia and brain inflammation. Hepatitis A and B, viruses that affect the liver and can cause lifelong complications. Influenza, remember the 1900s and the influenza epidemic that almost wiped out a whole generation? Recommended yearly for children 6 months and older. And pneumococcal disease, a major cause of meningitis and bloodstream infections. These vaccines create the immune system early. Library, the first set of instructions that help children recognize danger before it strikes. Teen vaccinations, protecting your kids' transition years. Teenagers receive a different set of vaccines because the risks shift as they enter adulthood. The CDC recommends the following. HPV vaccine protects against the strains of human papillomavirus that causes cervical, throat, and other cancers. This is the cancer prevention shot. All those commercials you hear, that's part of it. tdap booster reinforces protection against tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. Annual flu shot, because the influenza changes every year, and unless you want to become a statistic, you'll get it. These vaccine protects teens during a period when they're more mobile, more social, and more exposed to new environments. Adult vaccinations, why they still matter. Many adult assumes vaccines are only for children, but the CDC adult schedule shows that immunity fades, risks change, and new threats emerge throughout life. Adults are recommended to receive influenza vaccine every year because flu strands evolve annually. Tetanus/tdap every 10 years to maintain protection from environmental exposure, like wading into the Gulf of Mexico and stepping into a piece of glass or a discarded needle. Shingles vaccine, it's called Shingrix, recommended for adults 50 and over to prevent shingles and its painful complications. You know, the ones that people usually pull up their shirts and you see this yuck all over their stomach. HPV vaccine, available up to age 45 for those who were never vaccinated. Polio vaccine, for adults who are never fully vaccinated as children. These recommendations come directly from the CDC's adult immunization schedule for 25-26. And you're saying, I'm an adult, I don't need this stuff. However, vaccines in adulthood are not about repeating childhood shots. They're about maintaining protection as the world changes around us. Immunity fades. Your immunity, a chronic illness, will destroy whatever immunity you have. And when you have none, you're more susceptible to the virus and germs that are out there. Some vaccines, like tetanus, require booster because protection decreases over time. New risks appear. Shingles is caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox, but it reactivates later in life. So you're carrying a time bomb in your system. Viruses evolve. Influenza changes every year, which is why the flu shot is updated annually. Travel, work, and caregiving expose adults to new environments. Adults often encounter risks children never face. Protecting others. Adults help shield infants, elders, and immunocompromised family members who cannot be fully vaccinated. I have a friend who's allergic to the needle that they insert in your arm to give you the injection. Vaccination is not just personal protection, it's part of the civic fabric that keeps communities healthy and functioning, especially when you go overseas. You don't know what kind of diseases they can protect you from and those which they cannot. Talk to your doctor, find out, get the necessary vaccinations before you go over, especially to Africa. Vaccinations across a lifetime are not about fear. They're about preparation, stability, and community responsibility. Children build the foundation. Teens strengthen that foundation. Adults maintain it. Understanding this helps families make informed decisions grounded in clarity rather than confusion and misinformation. This is PWTRN'S Network Daily Bread. To listen to this all over again, please go over to eVision, capital X, capital R, click on it. You will find eVision XR over at passionatworldtalkradio.com. And then look for the upper bar, which has eVision, ENVISION, capital X, capital R. Click on it. Table appears, drops down, then click on it, Daily Bread. And not only that, you get to click on the newsletter review Sunday of all the previous programs with reels in the newsletter. Plus, we have the blog, passionatworldtalkradio.com/blog. There you can listen to the audio all over again, plus read the summary, and most important, click on the URL that will take you to where all the information is located. And if you want to continue to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, please consider donating to our station. passionatworldtalkradio.com/donation. $5 will help us maintain and keep the lights on. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.